We are now on our third day of EOC Shutdown. So today we are going over two things, two of the most important things on this test, actually. So the first piece is called direct variation. So what direct variation means is anytime you see the phrase y varies directly with x, or y is directly proportional with x, you see the word directly, what that means is you have to set up this formula. So in this first one here, so what we have, I'm going to write it down, y over x equals y over x. So when we look at this one, the first y value is a 42. The x that goes with it is a 21 equals. The next y value is a 16. Y's go on the top, so I'm going to put a 16 on the top. What is the value of x? I don't know, so we put the letter x on the bottom. So now this is something that you guys did a long time ago. It's called cross multiplying. So cross multiplying means I need to do this times this equals this times this. So 42 times x is 42x. 16 times 21, let's check. 16 times 21 is the number 336. Okay, so I did this times this equals this times this. Easy. To get x by itself, this is like saying 42 times x equals 336. So the last step to get x by itself is to divide. So I'm going to divide 42 and divide 42. Oops. By dividing by 42, that makes the x now be by itself 336 divided by 42. And that's the number 8. So the correct answer to number 1 is x equals 8. So easy. Okay, let's do another one. If y is directly proportional with x, okay, so that means I'm going to do y over x, a proportion equals y over x. You guys actually do this quite a bit next year in geometry. Okay, here we go. Our first y value is 11. The y's go on the top, so that's an 11 over. Our first x value is 6. So I'm going to put a 6 on the bottom. Equals. So now in this one, they're giving you the other x value. The x goes on the bottom. So I'm going to put the 9 on the bottom. Y's go on the top, x's go on the bottom. What is the value of y? So I put a letter y right here. So now again, we need to cross multiply. I like to put the diagonal with the letter first. So 6 times y is 6y equals 11 times 9 is 99. To get y by itself, you divide by the number that's with the y. So divide by 6, divide by 6. 99 divided by 6 is 16.5. Now y is by itself, and it equals 16.5. Okay, one more, and you can trace them together. So now we're going to do the same thing, but this is from a real life situation. So it says the height of a water bucket varies directly with the number of seconds that the faucet has been on. So we're going to set up a proportion. So the height of the water bucket, so height over the number of seconds the water faucet has been on, so height over seconds, is directly proportional. So it means I make two fractions or a proportion equals the height over the seconds. Okay? So it doesn't matter if you put the height on the top or the seconds on the top. So that's actually, I'm going to switch these. I'm going to do it like this. So in this one here, it says after 9 seconds, okay? 9 seconds. The water is 4 inches high. So that's 4 inches. Equals. So what I need to know is that the seconds are on the top and the inches are on the bottom. So I just did it in order of how I read it. So in this one here, 9 seconds over 4 inches equals. So then it says, how many seconds will it take for the water to be 15 inches? Well, inches are on the bottom, so I have to put 15 on the bottom. How many seconds? I don't know, so I put an X there. So I have seconds over inches equals seconds over inches. Super easy. So now I'm ready to cross multiply. Cross multiply means this times this equals this times this. I like to put the diagonal that has the letter first. So 4x equals 9 times 15. Equals 135. Divide by 4. Divide by 4. 135 divided by 4 is the number 33.75. Easy. Okay, so proportional. I just wrote the first word over what it goes with. How many seconds for 15 inches? Super easy. Okay, so now I want you to try 3 on your own. So for the first one, super easy. Find the y value over its x equals the y value over its x. Same thing here, y over x equals y over x. In this one, you have a y for both. In this one, you have an x for both. Easy. Next, the number of garbage generated in a city is directly proportional to the population of the city. A study concludes that 20,000 people generate 12 tons of garbage. Based on this information, how many people would generate 90 tons of garbage? Well, tons is on the bottom, so I need to put 90 tons down here. How many people? I don't know. So that's the letter X that we're solving for. We're solving for X people. So people over tons equals people over tons. Super easy. Cross multiply and see what you get. Not too bad. All right, last piece of today. Now we are moving into graphing. So in the same world, we have X's and Y's, and we have to figure out how to graph lines. So when we're graphing and every single STAR test, they always ask for these 2 points. So this point right here is called the y-intercept. It's called the y-intercept because it crosses the y-axis right there. How do you write a y-intercept? Well, you write the y-intercept. This one is 2. It sits in the y-axis. This is the y-axis. So that means I need to write a 2 in the y spot of the ordered pair. This is x, and this is y. So I put it in the y spot of the ordered pair, and then a 0 in the other one. Okay, that's my y-intercept. So if that's my y-intercept, this here is touching my x-axis. So this is called the x-intercept. Remember, the word x-intercept is the same as the word 0. An x-intercept is also called a 0. Okay, so in this 0, the x-intercept, it touches the x-axis. So that means that number goes in the x spot of an ordered pair. The x spot is first, that's a 1, with the number 0. Super easy. Okay, so let's do that. Number 1 and 2, try it yourself. What is the 0? A 0 is an x-intercept. So that means it sits in the x spot of the ordered pair. The y-intercept is where it touches the y-axis. So that has to sit in the y spot of the ordered pair. So easy. Okay, try number 2. Whoops. Come back. Here we go. X-intercept, y-intercept. They'll always give you extra points that don't matter, like that little red dot, that little red dot. Those don't matter. When it asks for an x-intercept, just go straight to the x-axis and find your x-intercept. If it asks for the y-intercept, go straight to the y-axis. Easy. Same thing, 3 and 4. X-intercept is where it touches the x-axis. Y-intercept is where it touches the y-axis. You always write it as an ordered pair. Super easy. Okay, number 4 is a little tricky. The y-intercept is directly between a 2 and a 3. What number is directly between 2 and 3? The x-intercept is hiding behind my slide. That's okay. A 0 is the same as the x-intercept. Super easy. Okay, last piece of today is graphing linear functions. So when we graph a line, it always has to be in the form y equals mx plus b. The m is the slope. So in this question, the first question is, what's the slope? Well, that's super easy. The slope is the number that's with the x. So the slope is a 1/2. The b is the number in the back, the constant by itself. So the b in this one is the number -1. So I'm going to write it as an ordered pair, 0, -1. So easy. What's the 0? I don't know yet. The 0 is where it crosses the x-axis. And right now from the equation, I don't have a clue where the 0 is. So we're going to start by graphing the y-intercept. 0, -1 on the y-axis is right here. A slope of up 1 and over 2. Up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. Down 1 over 2. Connect your dots. Okay, here's my line. Now that I've graphed the line, I see it crosses the x-axis right here. So the 0 is the number +2. Sometimes in a star test, it'll ask for it as an ordered pair, like 2, 0. Or sometimes it'll just want the number 2. So you can write it both ways. So when you're ready, I want you to, and then, by the way, so if you struggle with graphing, as long as it's in y equals, you could also just plug that into Desmos and graph it on there. Super easy. Okay. Try numbers 2 and 3. Super easy. Number 2, the slope is the number with the x. The y-intercept is the number by itself. Graph, rise over run, up 1 over 3. Up 1 over 3. Super easy. And then on number 3, the slope is the number with the x. The y-intercept is the number by itself. The 0, I don't know yet, so you start at 4. Remember, with this slope, if there's nothing below it, you have to put it over 1. So we're going to drop down 4 into the right 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, right 1. Negative means drop down. To the bottom, we always go to the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, over 1. So easy. Now you have a 0. You can see where the 0 is on this graph. Super easy. All right, so when you graph a line from slope-intercept form, you begin with the y-intercept. We just did that. And then we move by using the slope. So easy. Last piece of today, When you graph a line from standard form, you must solve for y by moving the x term and dividing the number in front of the y. Then begin with the y-intercept and move by using the slope. Super easy. So what that says is you must solve for y. So in this example, in number 4, let me zoom in. So in number 4, my letter y is not by itself. So I can't do anything. This is the worst form because I don't know anything from this. I don't know what the slope is. I don't know what the y-intercept is. I need for y to be by itself. So to get y by itself, the first thing it said is move the x. To move a negative 6x to the other side, I need to add 6x to both sides. That leaves me with a positive 4y. I like to put the x first, so it's a positive 6x, and then a minus 12. To get y by itself, we divide by 4, divide by 4, divide by 4. So now I end up with y equals 6 over 4 are both even, so you can cut them in half. That reduces to 3 over 2 with the letter x. 12 divided by 4 is the number positive 3. So now that we have solved for y, we have a slope. The slope is the number that's in front of the x. We have a y-intercept. The y-intercept is the number in the back. Then we graph it. Start with the y-intercept on the y-axis, move with the slope, and then you can figure out where the 0 is. Super easy. Try number 2. Solve for y. Anytime there's no number, I like to put a 1 in front. So it's like saying negative 1x. So I'm going to add 1x and add 1x. Then I get y by itself by dividing. That leaves me with y equals 1 over 4x. 16 divided by 4 is minus 4. I moved the x by adding the 1x, and then I divide by 4. Easy. When you're ready, try the same thing with number 3. Solve for y, and that gives you a slope, a y-intercept. You can graph it, and then you'll get the 0. Very, very easy. So that is everything for today. Not too bad. Direct variation and graphing lines. Most important things is that you know how to find an x-intercept or a 0 and a y-intercept from a graph. No extra practice today, so you guys are good. Tomorrow morning for warm-up, we will do star release questions that were over this unit. Have a wonderful day. We will see you all tomorrow.